Welcome to the Fit Femme Project Alignment Podcast. It is here that we cultivate and gather all who have been through it in fitness, relationships, careers, lifestyle changes, and unforgettable crucial life pivots trying to achieve their most sovereign selves. We're here to provide you with thought-provoking, detailed stories and information from truly fascinating men and women from all walks of life, professions, generations, and modern-day sagas who speak to their rawest, darkest moments that made them the strong, decisive, humble, helpful, healing people that they are today. We ask them to hold nothing back because life is a multi-dimensional pursuit to be stronger, healthier, and more aligned mentally, emotionally, and physically. Let's go. Okay, well, let's just go ahead and dive in. Thanks for joining me today. How are you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Lovely. So I'm sitting down with Ella Catherine, host of For Better Self and Net Worth podcast, lifelong learner and connoisseur of all things food and dance. And I know I've seen you at our little brunches that we always do.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me on. I have been following you and your journey for, let's see, about 3 or 4 years now. Ever since I remember when I first met you, we were at a gathering and we had the fun fact about
Yeah.
yourself. And you
Oh,
were telling us, yeah, can I say it on the air?
yeah, go ahead. It was
Yes.
funny. I didn't know you were there.
You were telling us that you were related to Ted Bundy. And
Everyone's eyes just went,
whoa, we were super fascinated by it. We're like, what?
yeah. That was funny. And then,
Most women would freak out, and we're just like, oh, tell us more.
yeah, and I was like, that's it. They're like, you cannot leave us hanging like that. It was so funny. And then what's her name? Oh crap, what's her name?
Is it
Another
Jade?
girl came in, but she came late. Do you remember that? And then she went
Yes.
last for the two truths and a lie. That's what we were doing. And she was like, we saw she had a Ted Bundy reference, and everyone was like, oh my God. Do you remember that?
I do. She said that Ted Bundy was seen at her sorority house.
Yes,
That
that's what
was
it
her
was. I'm
fun
like,
fact.
I wasn't there. It wasn't me.
I
Yeah, I
love
did want
that
to
game.
explain, or not explain, but just like tell the story on like how we met for the people. So what we're talking about is Monday Funday, and I've talked about this before with other people because do you remember Megan Reed?
Megan, yes, I do. I've saw her
I just
book.
interviewed her. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I talked about it on there, and she talked about how Monday Funday she thought it was like some like kidnapping scheme. I was like, you know what? I would have thought the same thing. But yeah, that was a couple years ago. And it was just like a wine night that we had every Monday at a friend's house. And I'm just like so thankful for that group. And because I met amazing women, amazing friends, and it was just like an incredible support group as well. Because as you know, at the end of 2019, I broke up with a boy. And the housing that I had set up after that, because we were living together, it fell through. And so I was like, I reached out to the Monday Funday group. I'm like, does anybody have a room I can rent for like cheap? And then you were the one who stepped up, and you were literally a lifesaver because I was couch surfing, I was staying at hotels, sometimes my car, and it was just like miserable. And you
I
really
can't
were there
imagine.
for me. So I'm just so grateful for
Oh,
that.
well, thank you. I liked having you. We had a lot of great conversations at night because I feel like we knew each
Yeah.
other, but not super well. But it was meant to be. You walked in, you're like, oh, I love Gabby Bernstein too. We read the same books. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, wait.
Yeah, we're both big readers
Yes. Big
and cat
readers.
lovers too.
I know. Cat lovers. How are your cats doing?
Good. Jasmine's still around. She's like 13. Aladdin passed 2 summers ago.
Hmm.
Oh man. And then I
Oh.
just adopted Walter, which every time I start sitting down at this desk, he seems to know it, so he might make an appearance.
Oh, Khaleesi will do the same.
Oh, okay. Yay.
Yeah, she'll come. Yeah, she will come and get into the desk and greet everybody. And then
So
I
and
remember how
he's like
much Simba
huge.
loved you.
Simba, oh, I
I had a Disney
know.
cat too.
He was such a sweetie pie. Like, oh, anyway, let's not get emotional. So yeah, let's just kind of start out here. So what led you to get where you are today with like your work, the podcasts, all of it? I want to hear it.
So I feel like my desire to have a podcast actually started before podcasting was a thing.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'll kind of explain it. So I've known since I was a little kid that I loved entertaining people. I was the class clown from kindergarten all through middle school. We moved around a lot growing up, so it was hard for me to get to know people, but I knew how to make people laugh. So that's kind of where it started. And I even had teachers be like, you know what? You would be a great actress one day. We should get you involved in a play. So that kind of planted the seed for me. And I will just go ahead and say it. Up until I think my junior year of high school, I was not going to settle for anything other than being an actress. I
Oh
had this grand plan to get on all that and then work my way to Saturday Night Live or Mad TV
wow,
and
dude!
do
I did not
skits.
know this.
Going to summer camp, I would always coordinate skit night. It was my favorite night of them all. I was Maid Marian in Robin Hood. I was Patty Simcox in Grease. I took
Oh my
every
gosh!
opportunity I could to be on stage. It was almost
Wow.
annoying for my friends and family that I did this. But
Were you
I
an only
remember,
child? Sorry.
oh no, I have two older brothers.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
Two older brothers. My dad says that we are all different as day and night and then some,
Yeah. Cute.
which my older brother loves, he's into politics. My middle brother is very analytical, does medical research. And then I am in tech sales.
Yeah.
And I also have that creative aspect that I embrace. So, long story short, I've had a very rewarding corporate job. I found out my junior year in high school that I was going to have to get serious, ponder going to college and getting a real
Mm,
job, a real
I hate
corporate
those
job.
moments. I get it.
Like everybody else,
What a
just get that
bummer.
real job. I know. But I even studied, took, when I was in college, I went to college because I did marketing, but I wanted to go into politics at the time. I thought I wanted to work on political campaigns. No longer want to do
Wow.
that.
No,
No, I can't even stand politics now.
me either.
But, oh my gosh. But it's kind of been a journey. I've had a successful career in sales, working in the financial technology space. And I just remember you start listening to the radio, you hear the same songs over and over again. So I really got into Audible and podcast. And I said, you know what? I want to do a podcast. I want to do a podcast. And that's for 2 years. Well, we got locked down in our houses in 2020.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's there to do? Well, why not go ahead and start a podcast? So I've been doing this for 3 years. It's been an amazing journey. It started off as a money saving podcast, like how to live. My tagline was live your best life without breaking the bank, how to travel on a budget, how to dress on
Nice.
a
Yeah.
budget, and then I feel like just it kind of grew into an entrepreneur space podcast because I have so many close friends who have their own businesses and have been able to thrive that way. I still like the comfort. I think I always, the comfort of a corporate job, the benefits package and all that. And
Yeah. The
I've been
security.
successful at it. The security. So I still love that aspect of it. But it's been a journey interviewing entrepreneurs. And then as the podcast continued for about a year, people started reaching out to me wanting to be interviewed on the show.
Oh wow.
So I just took it as that. I was like, yeah, let's keep doing this. And
Just
instead
kind of
of,
leaned into that. That's cool.
yeah, I just leaned into that. Instead of just me coming up with stuff and just being behind the mic all the time, I'm able to showcase other people and their aspirations. And they in return have stories about their journeys into entrepreneurship that they share and advice that they share with the listeners.
Nice. I love that. So, what have been so you every episode is like a new guest. So like who has been like the most memorable so far? Like
Ooh.
or who's your favorite?
I always say my most memorable guest is the last guest that I had.
Oh yeah?
I had a Jay Hall. The episode is going to come up this week. He is a CEO of Sync Digital Systems, and he started out being a DJ because he had a similar story to me. He was a weird, awkward kid, and then he was a DJ all through middle school on up. Started his own business, and now he goes to schools and speaks against bullying. He uses his platform that way.
Oh wow.
So I remember that, but I've had so many really cool guests. I had Amy Green Smith was very recent. She has a masterclass that she gives out for free called How to Speak Up for Yourself Without Being a Dick.
That's
Because
hilarious.
I struggled with that. In the South, we're taught to be nice and kind and agreeable.
Yeah. Yeah. And women too. Like we gotta be agreeable, compliant, and nice and sweet and all that. That's funny.
Yes. We're taught not to take up so much space. That was a pretty recent guest. I also had Brie Clark. She was a news anchor. She had what I
Oh
thought may
cool.
have been my dream job one day, and she stepped down from being a news anchor to start her own talk show.
Oh nice. So what have
So,
you so you've been doing this for like 3 years, obviously, like you just said.
mhm.
So what are some of like the biggest takeaways that you've gained from like all interviewing all these different people from all walks of life and businesses and all that? What have been what you've gained from all that?
I have learned to never discount anyone as a guest or anyone's journey because
Oh, yeah.
there have been some guests that I've had. This is one that stands out to mind. I had somebody that signed up to be on the show, and their biggest success was working for an MLM, which I buy a lot of products, multi-level marketing. I buy a lot of
Yeah.
products that are direct sales and multi-level marketing. And I thought, okay, is this the right fit for the show? Would
Yeah.
this be the good guest? I have a lot of friends that have really strong feelings about multi-level marketing, but something in my gut said, yeah, let's go ahead and have her on the show. Well, I learned that not only did she have that kind of success with her network marketing company, she built other businesses on top of that. It was also my most downloaded episode of 2021.
Really?
And this person has, I'll keep it anonymous, but this person has well over 100,000 followers on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
She didn't even talk about that. She has deals where she's endorsing hotels and clothing companies, and she didn't even talk about that on the show. I was like, wait, I need to have her back again.
Oh, yeah. So she didn't talk about her the MLM stuff?
She talked about a little bit about the MLM stuff,
Oh,
about
okay.
how what it taught her, like why she joined
I
it,
see.
what she learned from it, what it taught her about sales and networking with others. So it was
Right.
kind of cool to like hear the other side of it.
Right. Yeah, that is interesting because that would have put me off too. Like MLM, it
I
doesn't. It
know.
kind of puts a bad taste in people's mouth. Yeah.
Especially somebody that you haven't talked to in years. It's like, oh, hey, how are you? It's great to see you. Would you like to buy some Mary Kay?
No.
No. I'll go to
That's
Target and
funny.
get it half off.
Yeah, that's funny. That Monday Fun Day group that was kind of MLM.
That's what I thought it was going to be. You said like the capture. I thought,
Yeah,
oh,
the capture.
they're going to try to sell me skincare.
They were actually really nice about it, and they didn't really put it in your face. But I remember they would have like specific nights that were geared toward that, but it was like kind of I don't know, invite only, and they would try to get me to
Hmm.
go. I'm like, I know what you're doing. They're like, KateLynn, you'd be so good at this. I'm like, I know I'm great with people, but I don't want to sell stuff. Like it was the skincare. I can't remember the name of it now. What
Oh,
was
Rodan
it?
and Fields.
Ronan Fields. Yeah. And I was like, I'll buy your stuff, but like, I don't want
Hmm.
to sell it.
I used those products for a while. I thought they did a pretty good job.
And they're expensive.
But yeah, they're twice as much. My dermatologist tells me to use CeraVe and it costs half as much.
Oh, that yeah, I'm not surprised. But yeah, Jade, love her, miss her.
I
She did really
know.
good with that. And I commend people who can like rise the ranks in MLM. Hats off because I wouldn't do that.
That's a hustle.
It really is. Like I don't even know how she got so good at it. Do you remember?
I talked to a couple people and they said that she joined when it was just becoming a thing, when it was a
Oh.
brand new product. So she was able to, the trick to those is you have to get so many people selling under you.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just be selling it yourself. You have other people selling for you and you're going to get like a cut of their checks.
Yeah, that I don't like.
Yeah, that's
Anyway, so what does like the future look like for your podcast? Like, what are your some of like dream guests? Tell me more into that.
ooh. So very recently, I started working with an AI to edit my podcast.
So have I. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's if you say, and I'm really hard on myself about this, but if you use a filler word, or I will use the word so a lot,
Mm-hmm.
or if you have some pauses, it can take that out for you. And it can also, if I've got a situation where guests want to interview on Zoom instead of Riverside or, Zencaster, some of the more professional podcasting platforms, but it's going to have a different quality if they interview on Zoom. So I can make
Yeah.
that sound more like it was interviewed in a studio, like tweak that a little bit.
What's the software called?
Descript.
Oh yeah. That. Let me think. Yeah, I've heard of that. I don't use that. I use the stuff that just like edits the videos real quick and just
Oh
like grabs
yeah.
like um the quick. mm, I don't even know how to explain it.
The quick
Like
snippets.
yeah, the quick snippets, but the ones that are attention grabbing. That's what I'm going for.
Ooh, so it's able to pick out the best clips because that I find
Uh
myself when I
huh.
do the preview of finding clips that I want to share. But it's like, ooh, what's the best thing to share?
Yeah, it's so
That
hard
usually
to
takes me a
pick,
little
but like the one
bit.
that I use will cut 15 videos for you and just be like, you pick. And then you can edit it a little bit to be like, I want it to go a little longer because of what I was about to say or something like that. It's really cool. I'll
Oh,
send
that's
you the link.
incredible. Yes, I'll check that out.
um, yeah, so what are some of the biggest things that you've learned though with interviewing people who are so successful and like the wisdom that you would impart with people who are wanting to be an entrepreneur, start their own MLM maybe?
I I believe it's more about listening than it is talking, and it helps to
Mm,
do video. I did just audio only starting out, but when somebody, and I still do this sometimes, when somebody's talking, it's so easy to be like, yeah, yeah, good Jill, good, so but I was like, oh, when I listen to that, I'm actually distracting people from the guest.
I see.
So I've learned how to interview really. I used to just ask a lot. What I would do is I would send out questions like, these are the questions I'm going to ask. And then I would just ask them and then they would spit it out at me. But just being, I think it's just a practice, just being interactive and getting people to answer what they want, but also preparing them in advance, and then like working on my habits and refining the habits that I have while I'm interviewing them. And also, I like to give them something to promote it with. So sometimes before I put it out on my episode, I will just go ahead and send them a copy of the recording
Yeah.
so they can put it on their social media, share it on their website,
Right.
share their
So what do you mean
photos.
by habits?
I have some bad habits.
Like
So,
being an interviewer or just like habits in general?
like as an interviewer,
Oh, like tell me more about that. Like I would
I'll,
never have thought that.
I'll say, like, so I get excited to say something, and
Oh
then I
yeah.
will have to write it down or hold myself in so I don't interrupt anybody. It's also a trait for people who are ADHD. We tend to get excited about what we're getting ready to say. So I interrupt people. So I
Yeah.
try to avoid doing that. And I try to avoid the, yeah. Oh, I love it. I would hear myself say that
And you get so
over
annoyed
and
hearing
over
yourself
again.
like,
And then I was like, okay, Ella, could you have just bitten your tongue for a little bit?
that's really funny. And true, like I think um public speaking skills and interview skills is like really great for life in general. So how has that helped you in like your corporate world and your personal life being able to like slow down and listen?
I think it helps a lot with corporate world
Yeah.
because people, they want to be heard, and it teaches me how to give them the platform.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with presentations, if you have to give a presentation, you have to do any kind of public speaking, it's really good to have my thoughts together, write it down, and implement those public speaking skills into any presentation I have to give.
Did you like read any books or have any kind of coaching to help you through that? Like how did you refine those skills?
So I did a podcasting masterclass with Angie Griffith. She's
Oh,
local to
cool.
Nashville. She talks about tips on how to podcast, how to promote it. And I'm still working on that too. I'm still working on getting press kits together. I saw where you guys do a release. I said, oh, I need to
Yeah.
start doing that as well. So getting those sort of things together. But she actually does a lot of episodes. It's called the Podfluencer Society, where she'll give
I'm gonna write
skills.
that down.
Podfluencer Society. It's so good. She gives skills on how to podcast. And she, came from the music business. She started recording in a studio. She'll now have episodes where she's just sitting on her couch recording.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much us, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just sitting in my executive chair. I call it my office. My office is technically wherever I'm supposed to be for work that day.
Yeah.
But sitting in a chair, I'm thinking about putting like some, the egg crate stuff that's supposed to be soundproof. I thought
Like
about doing
literally
that.
egg crates, the
Oh,
cardboard?
not the cardboard, but the foam.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm guessing you get it at Lowe's or home improvement store. I was like, maybe I should put that up and have some soundproofing. So when the cats come in and cause havoc, it will it'll
Yeah.
fade that out in the background.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you're a big reader, right?
I am.
Yeah, so tell me about some of the like the books that have helped you with like podcasting or just like impacted you a lot.
I think the biggest impact book that I read, and it was actually something we did through Monday Fun Day. It was a book that got passed around on Monday Fun Day. It was called You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's sitting right there. I love that
Sitting,
book.
oh, so good. I anything she comes out with, I read. And she's doing a tour, but she doesn't come to Nashville. And it's like, why don't you come
Yeah,
to
I saw that.
Nashville? But just hearing the way she tells stories, and she helped me realize the impact with mindset. If she can do it, so are you. And she called me out on having limiting beliefs around what I can do. When I graduated college, yeah, the only mediums available were, TV, radio, some internet. But as social media grew, there came opportunities for people like you and me to have a platform
Yeah,
like we want
absolutely. Yeah, her
to.
book was I think it's a great and I've talked about it a lot. It's one of those books that if you aren't a big reader, not really into the self-help genre,
Right.
that's a
Self
great place to
help.
start.
Yes, it
Her
really
book,
is.
well, no, not the book, the chapter, the mirror chapter, I always think of that one.
The mirror. Is that where she was judging Pink? A girl she named
Um,
Pink, and she was judging Pink because she realized that's something she didn't like about herself.
yeah, where like life is like a bunch of mirrors and it's kind of reflecting back to you. Like I
Hmm.
don't like that.
Yes. I heard that and I was like, yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow, but once you get familiar with it,
It really is.
my favorite chapter was My Subconscious Made Me Do It.
Oh, that is a good one.
Ah, subconscious is a sneaky thing. There's so many limiting beliefs that we pick up when we're kids
Hmm.
that affect our relationships, our impact, our money, and these things that were
Yeah,
told to us when we're little.
her other book, the money one.
That's so good. Yeah, most of our money limitations come from these subconscious beliefs about money.
Absolutely. That was actually the first book that I had read. I didn't read the other one first. So I read the money one first before the You Are a Badass. That was one of the more impactful books that I've read because it got me to quit a job that I wanted to quit and then like pursue this dream that I had, even though it didn't work out. But it's like the courage and the okay, courage is the good way to put it, to like just go for it, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite books too.
I think, like you, I think I may have, when I realized it, I think I may have read You Are a Badass at Making Money before I read You Are a Badass because I had my first regional sales job that had, I did like a lot of training, marketing, but my first sales job where I was held to a quota, I read the book before. Actually, I was on the
Oh.
plane on the way to Colorado to train for this job reading that book. I think I bought it at the airport now that I think about it.
Oh, funny. So how did it help you in that job?
I think it was like, I think in sales, you get nervous about selling and you get nervous about asking people to buy something. It's just it's a common headspace. Well, with that, I learned that, I'm actually helping people. And why wouldn't I make money helping people?
Yeah, absolutely.
And when I took a job when I first graduated college, I'm like, well, it's not really about money. I just want to enjoy what I do. I want to have purpose in what I do. Why can't you have purpose in what you do and make money at the same time?
Yeah, I loved that. Did that help inspire like the beginning of your podcast? Because it started out as a financial podcast.
It did. It
Tell me
did.
that little journey.
Yeah, so I will tell you, as a financial podcast, I realized when I'm telling people how to budget, I was A, implementing limiting beliefs around money, and B, in the midst of this podcast, I was booking a trip to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico to invest in myself. I, was paying someone to come clean my house twice a month. I bought a nice car. I was looking at that and I was like, I'm really not practicing what I preach. Especially if they
Mm,
knew what I spent on making my hair blonde. You know what I mean? It's like, am I practicing what I preach when I talk about going on a budget? In some ways, I do stick to a strict budget. And then there's other ways that I like to splurge on. I like to have the latest technology. I stay within my means, but it's like I live a pretty luxurious life. I don't know that talking about budgeting is going to age well with me,
I see.
especially as I was, just manifesting a lot for myself and being able to invest in myself more, the things that I want to have. And then when I talk about, cutting back on spending, am I telling the universe is like, I really don't want a luxurious life. Is that what I'm saying?
That's a good point. That's a good question to yourself.
Yeah, I remember thinking that. And also interviewing people and having entrepreneurs on the show gives me a chance to serve people with the show, being able to market them and give them a platform because we all want a voice. We all want to be able to tell our full story. My life coach told me that most people, they know a pixel of you or they
Oh
see a
wow,
few pixels. They don't see the full masterpiece.
that's a that's really beautiful. Little
Isn't it?
pixel. Yeah.
Jordan Rystrom told me that. I can't take credit for that statement, but she's right.
Yeah.
And podcasting is a great way to give people a platform to talk about more of what the pixels attribute to, the masterpiece that they attribute to.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do a podcast for so long. I was like you, where I had the idea and the passion for it, and I knew it was going to be in my future at some point, but I just didn't know how. Because I love to talk, I love to be in front of the camera. So like I really feel that we all have that voice and we all want to share it. So like podcasting I knew was like gonna be it for me, even if it was a period of time. You know what I mean? But it's gonna be in my life regardless.
It will be in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking of something and I forgot what I was going to say. So glad
It's okay.
podcasting was in the cards. I do remember, yeah, you were talking about when you first started, you started out talking about a wine podcast, like how to find the best wines.
Yeah, I did. I was doing that with my friend Stacy, but it was fun, and she moved a little further away. Um, but I had fun. It
It's
was a
so
part of
much
my life, and I
fun.
was like, it's gonna come back again for me, but we'll see how that happens.
Yeah. A lot of podcasters will do mini series podcasts where they'll talk about one thing and then they'll start a podcast talking about another. Just about every one of my friends has had a rebrand at some point in their podcasting journey.
Oh, funny.
I know very few podcasts, like local independent podcasts, where they kind of wrote out the same branding throughout.
Oh yeah, really? I don't really follow a lot of local stuff. I really should. Besides yours.
I follow a few. I could be better about it as well. Most of my friends that do like local podcasting, it's totally different from what I do. They talk about going into the history of some places, finding out where places are haunted. They talk
Oh, like their
about,
genres.
yes.
I see. Are you part of that networking group in Nashville?
Which one?
The Nashville Podcaster Network? I think that's something like that. It's not exact.
Ooh, I need to be.
Yeah, because I've been wanting to do more networking. I'll send you the Facebook group because I think they do one every couple of months where they'll meet up and do stuff. I've been meaning to go because it's
That
like a
sounds
good place to
fun.
learn.
Oh yeah, to learn from other podcasters and what their journey
Hmm.
looks like. I
Yeah.
do I do Women Who Wine, even though I drink two a week max nowadays. I
Oh yeah.
do
Now that Monday Funday's over, it's like we've really
Not
cut
Monday
back on
Fundays
our
over.
wine consumption.
I know. We also do the East Nashville Wine Club
Oh, fun.
that Jackie started.
Yeah.
Was that what
Oh
it's called?
yeah.
Oh no, with some flair. Wine Club with some flair is what
Yeah.
it's called.
I was like, I don't know that group. Wine club with some flair. Yeah, yeah. We do that.
Yes.
We try to do something like once a month.
Yeah. And it's always really nice because I will do anything. And then Gals at Brunch is back.
It is?
It's back.
Okay. Who's running it?
Heather Crawford, another
That's
podcaster.
right. She has a podcast?
She had a podcast. Her and Sarah had a podcast called Real Health, Real People.
Oh, I did not know this.
Yep. This was years ago. I Now Heather does yoga retreats now.
Yeah, sometimes I'll see your stuff on Instagram just pop up. I don't like truly like remember or listen or follow.
Hey, yeah. I think the algorithm, I think I see stuff of hers pop up too, but the algorithm is
Yeah, I'll
actually
have to
showing me
reach
people I
out,
don't
but
follow more.
I've been meaning to get more networky, but yeah. Yeah, anyway, one last question for you. If you could pick one person to positively influence and connect with our listeners, who would you recommend?
I was thinking about this. I think my friend Emily Ahrens would be a good fit for the show.
Okay.
She she talks about health in an esoteric way, but she talks about being connected, the importance of spending time out in nature,
Okay.
eating foods that come from the earth.
Okay. And you've interviewed her before?
I have.
Okay, I'll have to listen to that episode.
Yes. She
What's
was
like
the
her is
first
she like a nutritionist or
a hypnotherapist and a life coach.
oh, hypnotherapist. Oh, I've been wanting to do that. Have you done that?
I have done it. It's so cool.
Is it kind of scary? I feel like I'd lose control or something weird.
So the hypnotherapy I do a couple. I did with Jordan Rydstrom, and then I do with Lindsay Robinson. She was another guest on the show. What they do is they do visualizations. So it's a
Okay.
meditation. Close your eyes, they walk you through it. and you have the visualization, and it just kind of helps get into your subconscious mind with any deep-seated beliefs. There's becoming a money magnet. There's, let's see, also like having a positive body image,
What
the
was it like for
motivation to
you,
exercise. I
the
feel like,
experience?
yeah, so after you do it, it's relaxing. You feel that same relaxation as you do in a meditation.
Yeah.
And I did, the money attracting meditation when I was kind of between jobs, where I got laid off of a flash job and then was looking for another job. And I was able to get a really good offer from a financial tech company that I work for. And that was after doing the money magnetics meditation.
Oh, wow.
Yes. The other is the motivation to exercise. I want to stay active. I want to stay fit. I love doing dancing. It's just when I wake up in the morning, what do I want to do? I want to drink coffee and watch YouTube videos. I was able to, for a while, switch my mindset to want to get up and exercise instead to
Oh,
produce that dopamine
wow.
hit.
I had never thought about hypnotherapy being for that.
Yeah, yeah. And they do everything. You can do a past life progression if you want to. You can do pretty much changing your mind. It's helped people. I know I've heard of hypnotherapy for people to quit smoking.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'll have to get connected because we're always looking for like people that can like benefit our listeners and because we haven't talked to anybody that has done hypnotherapy or is a hypnotherapist. I'm saying that right? Okay. Yeah, we haven't talked to anybody like that, so that would be really cool.
And they're not going to make you cluck like a chicken if people are wondering that.
Oh yeah,
Like
it's
the
not like the
stereotypical Fresh Prince of
yeah.
Bel Air, where
Oh yeah. That's funny because people do think that like I don't want to do something that I don't want to do. Did I say that wrong?
exactly, exactly. The
Yeah.
hypnotherapy is to kind of tap into your deepest desires and to change your mindset so you can become a magnet for the things that you want.
Okay, I'm giving her a call.
Yes, I'll send you
I
her
got a new couch to
information.
buy. Okay, yeah.
Ooh.
That was a dumb joke, but yeah, send me your info. That'd be great. Well, thanks for joining me today. I really love talking with you. And I said this, well, at the top of the episode that we're doing a little duo interview. So check out Ella's podcast for where I'm being interviewed.
Yes, so excited.
Yeah. But yeah, until then, guys, you have a great rest of the week. Thank you for joining me, Ella. I will talk with you later.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the FFP Alignment Podcast. Please support us by downloading, rating, and recommending us to your friends and family. Be sure to check us out on Instagram at the FitFemme Project. That's FITFEMME Project. And for those of you looking to find their essential balance of lifestyle and fitness, book a free consult by going to thefitfemmeproject.com. That's FITFEMME Project.com and click Apply Now. Until next time, this is the FitFemme Project Alignment Podcast.